Good evening to you all from Church of Uganda Family TV. Along Kampala Road, you'll find us in Church House, floor 13. That is where we are, and that is where we enrich lives. My name is Emmanuel Odeke, and welcome to this episode of Let's Talk. And today I'm privileged to have a big man in studio. People have famously called him the Twitter cop. So with me in the studio is AIGP Emeritus Asan Kasingye. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you so much, Emma.
Good to see you.
Thank you for having me here.
And,
My maiden visit to Family TV.
It's a beautiful one.
Thank you.
Maybe before we get to the show, how does retirement feel like?
Oh, retirement, of course, starts in a different way, and then it progresses, and you begin to. Within 6 months, I can say yes, I'm seeing what retirement is all about. But of course, you enter it with apprehension. You coming from a journey of 33 years, waking up to same people that you talk to every day, that you work with, you have lunch with, you go to work with in the field, and then you come back to your family. And then you start adjusting to the family and other people within the community. And I can tell you, it is as you begin to worry, because you're leaving a family that you have been with for quite a long time. Mm-hmm. But it is worthwhile.
I think it is something that people ought to prepare for right from the time they start work.
Emma, I normally say that with my 6 months experience, we need to begin preparing for retirement on the first day we sign for our work. You are given a job, you're given a pen, sign there. When you sign and you get the job, begin preparing for retirement. Because it's not necessarily 60 years, because I'm not 60. You may be signing a job on contract. You may be, for one reason or the other, leave the job. Not that you have been dismissed, but you could change your mind. They could change their mind. You may be hurt and you cannot, for medical reasons, you retire. And for family reasons, you can retire. So when you retire, it shouldn't be a balance of why did I waste my time and that kind of thing. No, it should actually even lift you to other, blessings that God gives somebody. Sometimes we do work and you forget that God has blessed you to do some other things. Because you remember Jeremiah 1:5 says, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. Okay? Which means that even what you go to, God knew about that. So you should go rejoice and start preparing for that. And life may not be the same.
That's a beautiful thing. I'm hopeful that one day we'll have Asan here again, discussing retirement and what you need to know about retirement and stuff of that kind. But today, we are not discussing retirement. We are discussing gender equity, and that's what we are discussing for today. So you don't need to touch your remote or take yourself anywhere else. You just need to keep it right at Family TV here at Church House. That's where we are located. I want to say Merry Christmas to you in advance because it is knocking around the door. So get that beat from me from the start of the month of November. So, Fande.
Yes, please.
What do we get to understand when we talk about gender equity?
I understand gender equity to be fairness that we give each other, or fairness, which is a process gender equity being a process of being fair to both gender. Okay? Are men fair to women? Are women fair to men? So when you begin now to go deep into that, you look at the roles that the women do. They are God-given, roles that women have. We don't give birth; they give birth. Okay, but they are also roles that men have to do. The Bible says that you're the head of the house and that kind of thing. Now, when you're exercising those roles, are you fair to each other? Okay, so gender equity should be able to ensure that there is fairness. The strategies and measures must always be available to compensate for women's historical and social disadvantages that I've talked about. And these days, by the way, we are talking about empowerment. Gender equity should also be a product of empowerment. You cannot talk about fairness when you're not talking about empowerment. Are men empowered? Yes. Are women empowered? And one thing that brings about disparity within the gender roles and others, is because we are not empowered fairly. And nature, I think, has it that one person who is empowered tends to be on top of those who are not empowered. Some usurp, some use, some take advantage of the powers that they have. If it is political power, they can use it differently. If it is economic power, they use it for themselves, and then they become unfair to the other gender. So that is my understanding.
So looking at that, it wants to seem that there is a disadvantaged bit that has that has long way come with a particular sex, because gender would be male or female.
Yes.
And we're looking at fairness.
Yes.
of one sex to the other.
Yes.
Now, with the culture that Africa has built, is there a way that the African culture, more so the Ugandan culture, decides to make the fairness lame on one side?
Yes. You can say that there are very many reasons as to why there is an imbalance within the gender, why there is that disparity that we talked about. And there are various reasons for that. Could be political, economic, social, cultural, even these days technological advancements and that kind of thing. So when we're talking about culture, the African culture, the Ugandan culture, a big percentage, I don't know which percentage, but for me, I believe, because I've worked in areas associated with gender within the police. I was the director in charge of the political commissariat, but one of the offices I supervised was the child and family protection. So I was dealing with families for quite a long time. And yes, it is true that there are people who use the excuse of traditions, of culture, to disadvantage the other gender. Okay? For example, I've said that the man traditionally is the head of the family. And because you are that, you want to take advantage of that. Okay? All the resources from whatever you have, you are the one keeping them. Everything, whether cars or whatever, they know your names. So you find the woman is disempowered even when they can do something. You forget that when you balance the roles that you are supposed to have, anybody can do anything. There isn't that a woman cannot do this. Okay? So the Ugandan culture, we need now to take stock of the different cultures we have. And because they say culture also develops with the development. When you are developing culture also, we have modern culture. You still have your culture that you have come with. Let me say the Baganda have a long history of preserving their culture, isn't it?
True.
But even now, when you see whether it is in Kwanjura, certain things are changing. They are not the same, but the principle is the same. So certain things are changing. I will give you a culture that I know well about, which is the Banyankore culture, because I'm a Munyankore. And I remember, even when I had reached P7 or Senior 4 or something like that, there are certain things that women would not get involved in. For example, if you want to marry and you're going to choose cows, okay, you don't go with the women. You get the point?
Sure.
Or there are certain things that you go through when you are giving away your daughter, and the women cannot be there. Even when your daughter gets married, where she has gone, the family she has gone to, that the parents, especially the woman, the mother, cannot go there to attend the wedding of her daughter. You understand that? But now, the modern culture is that parents are invited like other people.
And they attend.
They go and attend, and nothing has happened. So, which means that we need to constantly reassess our cultures and our traditions vis-a-vis the rights that we have now. We need to balance. Culture should not be a hindrance, okay, of equity that we're talking about, but should help us even to be more
better.
Yeah, better, because cultures and the norms and whatever, they are there. It is how now you interpret them to make sure that you don't disadvantage one against the other. Actually, we can tie it and say that what we're talking about is gender equity, because there is gender equality, which is focusing on women and men to have the same equal opportunities. Okay? But now we are focusing, for example, land. There is a law that has been going to Parliament about property, about land. Right now, you cannot sell your land if
your wife has not.
Yes, so it is owned by both of you. That is, now we're talking about gender equality. But gender equity is trying to focus on what could have gone wrong and try to make it better. Okay? For example, we're talking about culture. As we are discussing about culture, we're also discussing about traditions. That could we now develop with that, okay? So that those traditions and cultures that were relegating the female gender, okay, in the past, then we can modernize that to make sure that they are not disenfranchised or disadvantaged. As we move forward. So that is something that I wanted to come out clearly.
All right. So now, how beneficial is this gender equity to society, to the nation, and the entire body around?
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Development must be a wholesome process, okay? It must be something that goes beyond. It must not be defined in a narrow manner. If we are talking about economic development, we are talking about political development, we are talking about technological development. It must be a broad subject encompassing all. It is, we used to say it is interdenominationalistic. It is, you remember these things we used to say when we were in universities and whatever. You must bring each and everybody. Now, when we're talking about gender equality, therefore, that every aspect of development that we're talking about is that the man and the woman, both gender, are playing a role, which is equality. But then we must remove the impediments, okay, that have been mitigating against women getting into probably job market, probably offices, probably opportunities that are there. Because when both are playing a role, then you get development faster. This country or any country cannot develop when you are relegating one gender against the other. If what can women do, for example? Okay, whether it is in the banks, whether in the banking sector, whether it is in technology, whether it is in the medical field, whether it is in engineering field, whether it is in police, for example, whether the women are very important. They are smarter.
Some of them are even smarter.
They are not even. They are smarter. That there are studies that have been done on that one. Okay. This morning I was listening to I think to certain radio where they are saying women have more ideas and that kind of thing. So the question you asked, if we want therefore to make sure that we have quality development, we must look into how both gender play a role in development. If it is in politics, Okay, like in this country, the vice president is a woman, the prime minister is a woman, the member of the speaker of parliament, she's a woman. This now should start reflecting in other sectors. Okay, is it in education, in schools? How many head teachers do we have, who are women and that kind of thing? Where we have them, they are doing a good job. Go to Namagunga, go to Gayaza, go to these schools. They are doing a good. Entebbe Secondary School, where I am, or I mean where I reside around, they are doing a good job. In the medical field, as I have said, they are doing a good job. So we need to provide some. I tend to disagree with people. They think now it should be put this one here and this one here. No, provide opportunities for both genders to be able to discover their talents and what they can do. But the opportunities should be
leveled.
And then you are going to get these people do what they are supposed to do. And when they have these opportunities, let them get these opportunities so that there's no one saying, no, you cannot do this because of your gender. As long as you have the qualities of doing that, so be it. So in terms of development, therefore, we must now start on gender programming as a country. This country has done something very good. There's something is called gender budgeting. If the budgets that are made, there is what is called, planning. You see it and plan. Okay, and then government is going to say that these are the seals, these are the, you must plan, but this is the vote, this is the kind of money that is going to be given to the police, for example. It is communicated by Minister of Finance area to the institutions. Now, once the institutions get this, then they sit and begin to plan. Okay, and after that planning, then you submit your plans, you submit the budgets. Once it goes to Ministry of Finance and Parliament, they are interested in looking at what is called gender budgeting. And each ministry, department, and agency of government must have somebody in your planning section that looks at the gender. If the percentages are not reached, that budget is not going to be approved. And what does that mean? It means that you must provide resources within that ministry, department, or agency that gives opportunities to women, for example, to play a role, to play their role. For example, they may not be working for reason of their biological reasons. Okay, somebody has a young kid. Maybe a kid needs to. Do you provide a place where workers come and then
children are
exactly
taken care of?
And if they are taken care of, what have you put there to make the children, play with their nannies and that kind of thing? Have you provided for that? Because if you don't provide for that, the lady is not going to come. And when she doesn't come, she's going to be evaluated at the same level with a man who does not have these roles. Now, at the end of the day, you have a man and a woman, and then the human resource manager is saying, this one has been working, this one has not been working. That disadvantages. So you must make a budget that makes women be able to work with minimum inconvenience. But also that gender budgeting helps to reach out to that woman out there. You understand?
And facilitate fairness.
And facilitate fairness. For example, because I've just left the police, I will give you the example of the police. We have many crimes that are committed in this country just because of the breakdown within a family, the family setup. You have women who are not talking to men, husbands who are not talking to their wives. You have children who have, because of that lack of harmony within the home, you are going to have children who have gone out of their way. And at the end of it all, you find that the crimes that you intended to reduce, because you have not paid enough attention to families, they are not going to go down. And everybody is going to be asking, but police will give you money to buy a car, to buy a radio, to buy a uniform, to build a house. What is your problem? Now, gender budgeting, therefore, must be able to contribute a certain portion of your budget that goes into family harmony. You understand that? And I can tell you, this has a great impact on the number of cases that are reduced. The gender-based violence, the domestic violence, and that kind of thing. Once it is reduced, then you begin to see development taking place.
And true development.
True development now. Whether it is in agriculture, whether it is in education, whether it is in what, as long as the family is harmonious, then there's nothing that is going to stop us or whatever. But go to the villages, you know, a man and a woman are fighting over land, over this, over that, over that. When are we going to develop?
Because the people are still entangled in small things. Now, could there be a worry at some point that a lot of attention is given to see fairness on the feminine female side? Would there be a thought that maybe in the next 10 years, if only attention is given to the empowerment of the female, don't you think the male might get to the level that the female were at some point?
Let me give an example. We had COVID-19. And COVID-19 has not gone. It's still here. And some people are even going to hospitals for COVID-19. But when we were starting in 2002, in March 8th or March 18th, we didn't understand COVID. It was a new phenomenon. And the government had to put measures to stop COVID, serious measures. We are locked down. You couldn't, it was a serious thing. If you're sick, I got COVID at early stages in August, around 26th of August. But the way I was picked up from my home, oh, Jesus Christ. So you can see that kind of, so they were mitigating the problem of COVID-19. So when the problem is beginning, you begin now to use measures that are seen to be more bent and more focused on the female gender. You understand? Because there was a problem. We need to solve a problem. But if you all accept that you have put measures to make sure that you even don't need to kill a fly with a hammer or something like that, and you begin to budget like we have been talking about, then people need to appreciate this. Then even when you're erecting, then people are going to say this and this and this. Now you go to the other area of, now let's have policies, and the policies will correct some of these things. Now the question of, therefore, that you are putting a lot of attention on the female to mitigate the problem, while it will not arise. And I believe Uganda is on the correct path, where now we know that there is a need to make sure that all genders are budgeted for, are improving at the same level, and that kind of thing. So yes, we are going to have people talk. We need to continue talking about it, because the problems are still there that hinder quality, equality, and also that hinder equity. So much as they are still there, we have to focus on them until when people understand, and then we begin to develop at that level.
So actually at that, what could be some of these problems, the hindrances? What bottlenecks are still there that affect us from seeing gender equity?
Yeah, as I have said from the beginning, the biggest problem is empowerment. Power, economic power, political power, cultural power, all this that makes one gender to have excess power over the other gender. This later on, if not used properly, of course it is not going to be used properly in most times, it disadvantages the other gender. So for me, the distribution of power, who has power, who uses power, who decides how to use power, and that kind of thing is what brings a problem within communities. Charles, Emma, you go to villages or you go and profile families that have gender-based violence all the time. There's a lot of gender-based violence. Try to pin at what brings that. It will come to, I cannot be allowed to make decisions. So and so is the one making decisions. So and so is the one who has money. So and so, that kind of thing. And it brings the problems that we have. I think that is one. But number two, we still have those culture and tradition. We've talked about them. Then there are policies that need to be I've seen in the education sector until COVID-19, when they say if a girl gets pregnant, she should continue with her education. You know what was happening before? Okay? A girl gets pregnant, she's in P7, she's in senior 1. The school says no. They shut the door against this girl for continuing, while the boy continues with the education. Okay? Either both go or both remain. You understand? And then we look at how this girl can complete her education. So that is also another aspect that we need to look at. Then we need to look at government programs. The government programs within communities. For example, we are now going into the parish development model. Okay, PDM. PDM must be built on which I know it is doing that because I've tried to study on the parish development model. Most of the government programs are going to be delivered there, be it agriculture, be it education, be it security, be it technology, all that. It is going to be based there. So you must make sure that both genders are involved at that level. Okay, but you have a government program, whether it is Wanaba Gagaware, whether it is youth empowerment programs, that both genders are not playing a role. It means that government is now spending money to a particular group of people. Again, because of empowerment and because of policies that do not focus on both genders playing a role. So those could be another reason as to why you have that problem of gender equity and gender equality.
Okay.
There are many, but I think that those are the ones I can pick out.
Okay. How best can we balance work and family? And then after we've dealt with that, I will want to know from you how family can be fun and not boring, as others have made it. So let's start with balancing work and family. How best can the two be balanced?
I think it all comes out on when we talk about gender equality. Okay? That the roles within our families should not be just for one person. Because once that happens, then you are going to have a problem of balancing the family. I think we need to be more open to each other. When we talk about a family, we talk about a man, a husband, wife, and the children, isn't it? So if you're going to concentrate every resources that are available to the family, to yourself as a man, okay, then you are going to find a problem of balancing your family, okay? You work, she doesn't work. You get a salary, you have a business somewhere, you're doing that business yourself. And now what is going to happen? What is going to happen is school fees must wait for you. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you are not there, probably by the time you come, your children have not gone to school because they have to wait for you. Okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that means that even when you get visitors and you are not around, you know what the visitors are going to feed on. And then you know what they are going to say, that you don't visit Odeke's house because the man seems to be rich, but the way they treat you there,
Is
is
not-
whatever. Because what do you want the woman to do? She does not have, people just come, they just pop up. I'm just giving small, simple examples for us to be able to appreciate that when we're talking about balancing in the family, we must balance the roles. First and foremost, can we all each get something to do? If I'm going to office, should my wife remain at home? Can't I spend some little money and I put up that shop where she can also go and work? And by the way, with work, she will also realize how difficult it is for you to get the money and be able to feed the family because she's also working. So both of you need to work. Both of you need to sit down and agree on what the family needs and who can do what. That needs to be done. And we have done it, and it has worked. We've even given opportunities to our wives, and they end up even doing much better and bringing more resources to the family than actually we would have done. For them, me, I'm a police officer. Sometimes I don't want to be seen doing this and doing that. How can Kasingye be seen, in a spare shop on a weekend? I'm in a spare shop in a Chiseka market I'm selling. AIGP is here, then on Saturdays in a spare shop.
Yes.
It looks a little bit funny. But when your wife is there, okay, she runs this and even runs it so well. Now, when we're talking about balancing family roles, we must also be talking about empowerment within a family. Empower each other. Make sure that you have different things that you do that all improve the family.
So it is about giving opportunities.
Giving opportunities within the family. Those opportunities are based on certain tenets, which include respect, mutual respect, which include love. You must invite God in your family. Yeah. If some of us, become born again Christians within a family, by the way, these things help you to be able to appreciate that man and woman, God's creatures, that you could not survive on your own without the other. Okay, that even, by the way, sometimes I don't know whether we realize that I have been able to be Assistant Inspector General of Police because I have a supportive woman. Okay, if she's going to support you every morning, you wake up, you put on your uniform, there's the breakfast, you sit in the car, you go, and you go to office, she keeps on reminding you, you have to do this, and last night you were complaining of headache, have you gone for medical checkup? Until when you come and say, what time are you coming? Can we wait for you? Or we put your food elsewhere and we heat it and that kind of thing. That is making you to be balanced even at work. The kind of work you're doing. That promotion you got, you may thump your chest and say, Madam, have you seen? I'm a tough man. I am now Assistant Inspector General of Police. Really?
There is support that
there is support.
Invisible
there
somewhere.
is invisible support. You can't be smart and you tell me you are the one who ironed your shirt. There must be somebody who is supporting you in whichever way. Sometimes you go out of the country. 1 month you are not there. One time I went on a study program in UK. 2 months. I went to Japan. 2 months. I went to Washington. 2 months. Okay? I went and worked in Rwanda for 1 year. 1 year. And when I came back, I found my wife had even, we had a car, and she had used the car to get more money from even sources I didn't understand. For you believe that a Kamunye should be able to take people from Entebbe to Kampala and that kind of thing. You come and say she has put it in an organization which is even bringing more money. Now, by the time you come, she's looking after children. She goes and does hope. So when we're talking about balancing roles and balancing family with work, you should be able to have mutual respect for your wife. Should be able to be open about your sources of income. Okay? I will tell you the trick. I know my wife is watching. She knows every money that is on my bank account, because even if I go there and I withdraw some money from my account, this receipt is on my small desk at the bed, she knows. I don't need to come and say, come here, I want to declare how much money I have in the bank and that kind of thing. But the certain things that I do show her that I am not selfish, that I'm not concealing anything from her. And I believe it should be the other way around, so that all of you know each other and know how you can contribute. But everybody who goes to office, everybody who is in business, whether it is church work, and your wife is not supporting you, you are a priest, but your wife is not supporting you to do God's work, you will not do it.
You can't.
You can't. There is no, the cut short is you must all be able to put hands together and follow up as a team.
Now, we have about 7 minutes still here. How best can family be fun?
Oh.
We are tired of lions in a family.
Yes.
you get married to a guy and
I think it all goes back to when we got married. We didn't get married to have lions. You put your tape and see it when you are wedding, the smiles there, how you are looking at her, and that kind of thing, everywhere you went at that, meet my wife. Okay? And that's what fun is. Okay? For me, I think that life cannot remain the same. You are going to have children, maybe there is a problem with one of the children or whatever. Families can be fun whether you have the money, you are enjoying, you have resources and whatever, you can have the fun. Resources also may bring disharmony within a family, from what we have said, isn't it? But if you get your resources and you plan together, you'll have fun. Okay? I used to like dancing. My wife didn't used to like dancing. Okay? So sometimes she would accompany me to go and dance. Then after that, I realized she didn't like dancing and she was not happy, so much happy. And I had also to balance that. Okay, now I don't dance anymore. You understand? Yeah. But that doesn't mean that we are not engaged in other things. Number two, families can find fun in joining other families. There are many opportunities for us to go into things that bind us together. You find there are families, for example, who are plus 60. For example, I belong to that family, much as I'm not 60. Because of my retirement, they invited me. And I reached there. And I found that there is so much happiness. A man and a woman. Then there is another family of 6 people. They espouse same things. They go and visit a national park. They go and visit each other and have a barbecue, and then they dance. They put their old music and then they dance. Wow, the kind of happiness that they have. But there are also families of young people who are beginning to develop, okay? But they cannot on their own. It's like agaria wamoge garume nyama. Now they come together, they are 10, and you find they are planting forests. When you go to Mubende to plant a forest, you fear you are alone, my land, this, they may take it, and that kind of thing. Picture 10 young people in different fields. They all sit together and they say with our families, let's go with our wives, let's go to Mubende and have 640 square mile of a forest. Within about 10 years, they are harvesting as a group. That's fun. How much fun can you get by doing that? But you cannot have fun without respecting your spouse. You cannot have fun without respecting the relatives of your spouses. If you want to have fun in your family, please respect each other, but also respect the other people who are also associated with your relationship. I want to tell you, I don't know how much love you can get from your wife if she knows you're educating her brother or her sister, or you even pay them a visit, or you even call your father-in-law, Muzei wasuzotia, that kind of thing. It can be fun. But also, I believe that families and relationships can be fun when you are open to each other. And we make mistakes. can say I've made a mistake. I'm not going to follow that route. But let's also have fun, because for me, I'm a Christian, and I'm a very, very strong Christian who can have fun by going together in church, by praying together, making sure that you go at night, you pray together. Sometimes we renegade on this. You say, Anze Nkoye, or something like that. Bottom line, you pray together. You share dreams. There's when I wake up and say, madam, I dreamt like this and this and this. And then she will say, oh, it could be this and this. When you open to each other, it is fun in itself. So marriage can be a bliss. Families can be a bliss. You can be in that family. And I have retired. You understand? I've retired. And my wife goes to a shop and she works. At one time, first week, second week, I'm writing my book. I am making sure that it is. She knew I was, every evening I come home with milk, with bread, or that one is sure. It is assured that it must be there. But here I am at home, and I don't have the resources at hand to go and run and bring the milk. She would leave me some money so that I go and buy the same things I was buying. The children would see that I'm buying the bread, I am buying the milk. But she left me the money. In the room, the children didn't see. You understand? How does that arise? It arises because you appreciate each other and you know each other as well. And this can be a fun because you continue in the same sequence of doing things. But I also believe that we can encourage each other. Instead of, don't compete in the family if you want to have fun. Don't be seen to be competing with each other. What you need to do is to make sure that you encourage each other. When somebody is doing something, give her kudos. Oh, thank you so much. There's one time my wife was in the banana plantation and I was in Kampala, she was there. And we are beginning to, to start focusing on our family at home. And then I would go after 1 month. I find her with the horse, then this kasori and whatever. You don't even identify the color, whether she's brown or black or whatever. But it can be fun when you say, thank you so much. If we were not here, how would these things move? But are you not tired? Let's go back to Kampala, we'll bring you the whatever. No, not me, I want to remain here. That's fun. I think fun is finding inner peace within yourselves to make sure that you remain coherent as a unit, and you are, and your children, and the people around you. You will have fun.
That is big and beautiful from Asan Kasingye, AIGP Emeritus of the Uganda Police Force. Thank you so much for keeping it Church of Uganda Family TV. Thank you, Afande, for making time.
Thank you so much for having me here once again, and I want to thank you. You're a great guy.
WhatsApps have been coming through from my friends who are officers, and they're saying, say hi to Afande for me.
Oh, sure.
Afande for me. And I'm like, hey.
Oh. You guys in the police, I love you so much.
So anyway, thank you so much for keeping it here. Until we meet again next Tuesday at 9 p.m. God bless you. God bless Uganda. Thank you, Afande.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure we'll meet again.
Salute.
Hey.
Yeah.